my gut health wasn't really at its optimum. My skin wasn't doing well. I was having hair falls. I was having pigmentation. I was really tired most of the time. I was having mood swings.
Uma Ghosh,
I ran a very successful television production company.
entrepreneur, mentor and global educator in the holistic beauty industry.
And at that time, I did not know that I was going through a burnout.
This conversation is about beauty, biology, and the return to self. How does a woman sit confidently without exaggerating and beautifying herself or trying to stop aging?
Great question.
You said that we are, to a certain extent, manipulated into wanting to fix ourselves versus then wanting to celebrate here and now.
I always talk about 6 pillars of wellness.
Face yoga and strengthening the muscles. People who say, I don't have time or it's difficult, how do you simplify that?
The fact that you need to unmute yourself comes from this word, authenticity. Are you being authentic to your own self? So I would really like to end this whole session with an exercise for everyone to do.
You can't fake radiance. You can follow every skincare trend, lift your face, layer serums like a pro, but if your nervous system is in fight or flight, your glow won't last. Because real beauty isn't surface deep, it's nervous system deep, it's breath deep, it's truth deep. And here is the thing, if your energy is off, your face will speak it. If you are exhausted, disconnected, or people-pleasing, no product can hide it. Confidence isn't something you put on. It's something you remember in your body, in your rituals, in the way you speak to yourself. And that's where unmuting begins. Not just with your voice, but with how you choose to show up in your skin. Today on Unmute, I sit down with Uma Ghosh, entrepreneur, mentor and global educator in the holistic beauty industry. She's the co-founder of Pro Age Aesthetics Academy and the founder of the Uma Show, where she's been sharing conscious beauty, wellness, and lifestyle practices for over a decade. This conversation is about beauty, biology, and the return to self. What I've learned from Uma is that the moment your nervous system calms down, you begin to unmute. Your energy softens, your presence becomes real, and your expression finally feels like you. So let's begin. Finally, you are here. I wanted to have you on a podcast and on Unmute for the longest time, but then you're traveling a lot, touring the world, teaching your holistic beauty modalities. The first question for everyone on Unmute is, when did you unmute your voice?
Well, firstly, thank you for having me. It's exciting to be sitting next to you and talking, which we always do.
We always do for the past 20 years.
Absolutely. So, when did I first unmute? Okay. Well, I don't think there was a moment, but it was a slow process, as every woman would resonate with me around the world. And I know we are not very different. After traveling the world, I've really realized that at a core level, we are all so similar. So I think with life experiences, slowly I learn how to unmute myself and reach to a space where I can not be muted anymore. And that doesn't mean that I have to always say and express. Silence can also be very, very powerful.
From the many magical, incredible friends in my life, you, and I do tell you this on the phone, you are one of the strongest. I want to know, what is the belief, what is the knowing you have that allows you to protect, that no one puts you down, no one breaks your boundaries? How do you think? How are you protecting that feeling?
So I think from a very young age, I did have the knowing that I am here with a purpose. I am supposed to be doing things that will impact people, and especially women, because as you know, I really connect hugely with women. I come from a family of women. Um, so the strength and resilience that you're talking about, of course, I've gained it over time, but some of it I think I must say I was born with. I have just honed it, and I have, with all my practices that I have, I just can go deeper and tap into my strength every time I've needed it.
Okay.
And I think the big credit goes to all the practices that I've had in terms of rituals and spiritual practice and all of the things. And yeah, I mean, as you rightly said, it is the knowing. I know that somewhere deep down, as we all are, I truly believe every woman is very resilient. It's just that it's the journey of realizing it is what we are on.
And it's also very personal.
Yeah.
It can be slow, it can be fast. It's deeply
Absolutely.
personal.
Yeah, absolutely.
Don't you think that that's why very often advice can fall flat? Because we have an internal, I don't know, clock system that gets there when it gets there.
True.
For me, as I shared with you a long time ago, I've created this podcast also for me to learn, find more ways how I can stay all the time in my power.
Yes.
Say no, thank you, or be able to receive something or someone and just do it with courage.
Yeah.
So as much as I'm offering this podcast and the wonderful conversations to the audience, I'm also constantly learning and finding that courage to stay courageous day in and day out, like you do.
And as teachers and as coaches and as mentors, we are eternal learners. As we give, we also receive. And that's the most beautiful part of teaching.
Let's speak about teaching and about you traveling to all continents, teaching your beauty holistic modalities. How did this industry, this practice chose you? Take us to how it chose you, how you found this new path. Because before, for those who don't know you, you were an entrepreneur, you were a TV producer, you've had many lives in one life. So let's go only to how you shifted careers and how this industry chose you or this practice.
Well, as you said, you've known me for a long time. I have done television for almost 15 years. I ran a very successful television production company and created content for most of the number one channels for South Asian diaspora. I created content when content creation was not a thing, and I thoroughly enjoyed it. It's something that I always wanted to do. I produced many successful television shows, and I was literally living the life that I dreamt of as a young girl, and many people dream of, living the high life in a city like Dubai, walking the red carpets with celebrities, interviewing them, getting dressed by the best designers, really hobnobbing with the who's who, not just in terms of celebrities and movies, but political leaders and, the CEOs and really the people out there. And I thoroughly enjoyed that life, but after doing it for a decade, I could feel that there was a nudge that was very slow and steady inside of me that was nudging me to look at life differently. And I knew I was enjoying all of that I was doing, and externally, I was very successful as we define success in our society. I had everything that anybody dreamt of. I was living the life that anybody dreams of. But I knew there was something that I was meant to do more and differently. And while I was going through that internally, I started to actually see all of that externally. My gut health wasn't really at its optimum. My skin wasn't doing well. I was having hair falls. I was having pigmentation. I was really tired most of the time. I was having mood swings and all of those things, which was not me. I was moving away from who I was as a woman. And those are the external signs that really made me look within. I knew there was something that I had to do, a shift that I had to bring about to change all of these external, signs and factors. And so I really went back to my childhood. Basically, we were, obviously I come from India, and looking raised with all these practices of breath work, meditation, yoga, and really looking into what's going inside your system, not just in terms of food, but in terms of what you're listening, what you're looking at, and all of those things. What are you consuming? And so I started to filter out a lot of things and became really conscious. And I started all those small practices. This is almost 10 years back. I'm talking about maybe 12 years back. I started to do breath work. I started to meditate. I really started to get conscious about what I was eating, how I was nourishing myself, my overall well being. And after doing that for 6 months, I started to see the shift. I started to feel better externally. I started to feel better internally. And at that time, I did not know that I was going through a burnout. Right? It's much later I realized there was a burnout that I was going through. And so that made me realize that small changes have huge impact. And I wanted to really pass it on to other women entrepreneurs, busy women who were, achieving all the things, but really not able to take care of themselves and didn't know what was amiss and how should they take control of their own health and take responsibility of their overall well-being. So I went ahead and became a certified health coach, and I started coaching a lot of women while I was doing my television yet.
I remember.
And then I realized most women were having skin issues. And as we know now, skin is an extension of everything that's going on inside of you and outside of you. Everything that is happening on your skin is telling a story about yourself. And so I became a certified skin coach, and I did a lot of different holistic skin modalities. I was already doing face yoga, then I went ahead and learned facial gua sha, facial cupping, facial massage, facial reflexology, and all of these modalities. And I started to treat women from their gut health to their skin health to their confidence to their narrative about themselves and all of those things. And so I consolidated my television business. I still kept the Uma show, which is on YouTube right now. And I literally started this way before wellness was the industry that it is right now.
I remember,
And I gave up all of that I was doing on television when people were like, "Are you serious? You're on top of the game. How are you even thinking of giving up television when this is what you live, breathe?" And you've seen me those days where I was literally out and about and filming and having this really fast-paced life, and to give all of that up to start something that I did not know where it was taking me. And at my heart, I am an entrepreneur. At the end of the day, of course, I want revenue from everything that I'm doing. And this was way before 2020 when I started coaching women. Then I went online. I started creating online courses. And 2020 happened, and those online courses became huge. I started getting 250 women at a time. And that's it. There was no looking back after that. And I really took that on a different level. I have lots of online courses now. I coach women on one-on-one. I continued with the Uma Show on YouTube, and then with my business partner, I started Pro Age Aesthetics Academy that teaches professionals around the world holistic beauty modalities. a particular face massage called neo-lifting, and we travel the world, and
And I
it
follow
is,
you and Tatiana on Instagram,
yeah.
always eating at the best places, hugging trees, and then training hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of beauty professionals. The hot question, the elephant in the room that I have to address with an expert and a passionate holistic beauty trainer like yourself is to Botox or not to Botox?
Well, firstly, I don't like to divide women into two groups: women who are going for injectables, and women um, like myself who are choosing to be holistic. There are a lot of things dividing women already. And I feel our beauty choices should not divide us. But having said that, we all have choices, and we can go for whatever is available to us, what we can afford, what resources we have for. But I just want women to take more informed decisions. Botox, fillers, and a lot of the other injectables are, um, at the end of the day, interfering with your natural body's rhythm. If you are choosing a holistic beauty modalities, it's activating the facial muscles, it's increasing the blood circulation, it is oxygenating each and every cell. On the other hand, Botox is paralyzing your muscles. And the moment you paralyze those muscles, all the other functions are getting disturbed, whether it's your lymphatic drainage, whether it's your blood circulation, whether it's a fascia layer, and all of those things. So you can just imagine, even if you've done Botox and you want to do it for a few years, it's not a solution that you can have for a lifelong. On the other hand, holistic beauty modalities, whether it's a face massage, face yoga, facial cupping, facial reflexology, any of those things are actually really adding to who you are in terms of balancing your nervous system, increasing your blood circulation, activating those facial muscles, and giving you long-term sustainable results that you can rely on for decades to come.
There is so much to unpack in that answer. I'm imagining a lot of women at home like me are watching Instagram and they've watched many other women my age with plumber lips.
Right.
So then it crossed my mind and we talked about it. I'm like, Uma, I feel like maybe I could also get more volume in my lips. And then you said you can do that, and be informed that the acid, the substance you are going to inject is going to stay there, is going nowhere, right? So how do you educate, right, everyone that comes into your courses that yes, it's alluring, it's very tempting to pay 3, 4, 500, 1,000, whatever dollars, euro, and get this instant glow, instant result. How do we stop ourselves if we are on the verge, if we are debating in our head, shall I plumb my lips or not? What's your answer to that?
So that's a very interesting question and a very important question. And for me, as you know, everything starts from within. And so everything starts with the narrative that you have about yourself. So I would actually like everyone to do this exercise right now. You can pause the video and do it. And this is a very interesting exercise I do with all my students is sit down and write the definition of beauty for yourself. That was one definition that we were never given the freedom to write ourselves. We were conditioned, we were given the narrative by the society, by the people around us, by our caretakers, by our parents, by our friends, by our relatives, what beauty is and should be. But we have never taken that opportunity ourselves to really sit down and think, what is beauty for me? So that's a very important exercise to do. If there are 10 women right now doing this exercise about what does beauty mean to me, I bet all 10 definitions are going to be different. So there is no standard definition of beauty. So who says plump lips are beautiful? Who says high cheekbones are beautiful? Who says only that eye color or skin color is beautiful? It is the definition that is given to us. Who gave that definition? Really go into the depth of what is beauty for me? And when you know the definition of beauty for yourself, and that's also ever changing. As women, we are, evolving all the time, and the definition of beauty is changing for us. So it's an exercise that you should constantly do, maybe once in every year, to find out what is beauty for you. And then go ahead and choose what you have to choose, but know from within that this is your definition.
It's more conscious, it's more
More conscious,
responsible.
and it is your definition. It's not given to you by anyone, right? So you empower yourself first, and then re-look at yourself and see if you're aligned with the definition that you have for beauty right now, and then take it from there. Everything starts with that narrative. If we don't work on that narrative, we can go and do all of these injectables or choose holistic beauty modalities, go back to this, and keep switching. But once you really know who you are, the radiance comes from there. For me, beauty truly is having that balance emotionally, having that centeredness spiritually, and also, having the ability to nourish yourself physically, mentally, and emotionally.
Another elephant in the room that all women know, and who better to debate or to speak about this topic if not with you, is that even if you know who you are, even if you have the spiritual connection, even if you embrace your 40, 45, 52, 61, we all know as women that men choose to be in a relationship based on visual. Men are visual, we are more auditory. So it's also in us, somewhere deep, deep, deep in our evolution, that if I'm single at 20, 30, 40 or 50 or so on, my chances to attract the best mate is based on who is more beautiful. So men today are conditioned to look for more volume, for more lashes, for more glow, and they don't look for the personality and for the woman who is embracing her gray hair. So on one side, women do it consciously, unconsciously, also to give themselves the chance to attract a partner. So then how does that woman relaxes in the fact that she starts to have gray hair, or the fact that she has a beginning of a wrinkle in her early 40s, where the other girls who are 30 are already full of injections or massages? So how does a woman today sits confidently without exaggerating and beautifying herself or trying to stop aging?
Great question. I feel most of the pressure that we have and we have put ourselves on are given by the women, not the men. And it's so easy to sit and blame the men and say, oh, men are only looking for women of certain type and category, which I totally disagree with. Like women are becoming conscious, there are men who are already conscious or becoming conscious, and they are not looking for plumper lips and or somebody looking like somebody else. Because if you see, a category of women are just looking alike, I don't think men are looking for that, honestly. So most of the pressure is coming from the women.
Okay.
And that is why it is so important for us to redefine that and not blame it on the men that they want us to be.
I would love the men watching this reel or video on YouTube to leave us a comment to know if they agree with you.
Yeah, I would be interested in that too, but I don't think it's coming from men. I think women are putting themselves under pressure to look a certain way. And that's why beauty industry is, many $billion plus industries, because they're thriving on insecurities of women.
We speak a lot about that. And let's dive into the fact that you've already you're already making a big, bold statement by calling your brand, your company that you co-founded with Tatiana, Pro Age
Age.
Academy. So, where is this haste? Where is this rush to stay, to remain youthful, and why we don't embrace the life cycles? Why we don't embrace the 40s, the 50s, the 60s, the wrinkles? Why we try to fill it up with fat and acids? What are we doing to ourselves? So the chase has always been there, but today it feels amplified, right?
Absolutely, it does. And that's why it's so important to be conscious and choose where do you want to be. And for me, aging is a privilege. I've always seen it like that. I've celebrated my 30s, 40s, and you were there for my 50th birthday. You've seen how, beautifully we celebrated it. I absolutely am loving being in my 50s. And I feel when you deny your age, you deny everything that comes with it, your experiences, your lessons, your wisdom, motherhood, being a wife, and all of these things that I've gained in last 50 years. I love it. Every line that I have, every expression that I have, every smile that I have is telling a story. I don't want to change that story. I own it and I honor it. So there's nothing wrong in being wanting to be youthful, but being youthful is not just how you look, it's how you feel. We have fear attached to aging because there are so many side effects of aging that we think that we'll
Lack
aches
of
and pains
energy,
and lack of
pain.
energy and all of the things that we feel that if we age we are going to be there. But if you are conscious and you're nourishing yourself, you're taking care of yourself, you can be thriving in your 50s, 60s, 70s. And I feel I'm enjoying redefining the definition of a woman in her 50s.
Do you think that in our lifetime, I don't know how much we will be able to do it, because I'm also pro-age, I'm also pro-health. We are friends for a reason for the past 20 years. Do you have hopes that in our lifetime the narrative will shift, or at least a bit, where women will embrace more their age and they will be more graceful about it versus then chasing to remain young? And
It's already shifting, I feel, and I do have hope, absolutely. While I travel a lot and I teach women, I meet them, I learn a lot from them too. The fears are for real, of course, and we all want to feel our best, look our best at whatever age. But I also see women becoming more and more conscious about all their choices, not just in terms of beauty, but overall well being and lifestyle. And yes, I have huge hope that more and more people will become more conscious with everything that they are doing, what they are thinking, how they are doing it, how they align their internal self with their external world, all of those things. And yes, I also feel there are all of more work, more studies, more researches that are happening for longevity are only going to make us feel and look better as we age. And the whole idea of aging is shifting. Now, even a few years back when I told people I am going to be 50, they're like, oh my God, you don't look 50 or you're going to be 50. Now, a lot of the times when
absolutely, you don't ever. You
thank
look
you.
incredibly
And I
beautiful.
don't even know actually whether it is a compliment anymore, because how are we supposed to look in our 50s and 60s? I feel that is also a conditioning and a story and a narrative that was given to us when we were very young, that when you're in your 40s, you're supposed to look a certain way. When you're 50s, you're supposed to walk or dress up or behave a certain way. When you're in your 60s, you're supposed to be a certain way. I don't even know if people say, oh, you don't look like you are in your 50s. Is that a compliment? Because, this is who I am in my 50s and I'm loving it. And I see a lot of women now in their 50s, really owning
Thriving,
it, thriving it,
thriving,
honoring it.
amplifying the fact
Yeah,
that they look incredible.
yeah,
You said that it's not just looks, it's also how youthful you feel.
feel. And that,
Share more about how we can maintain youthful and how someone who is maybe feeling a bit tired, exhausted, or feeling a bit old in their early 40s or 50s, how they can reverse that and feel youthful from within.
for me, I always talk about 6 pillars of wellness. And these 6 pillars are very important to me. And maybe it's not always balanced in your life in different phases, but if you know that once you balance all these 6 pillars, you will be thriving. The first and foremost is, of course, nutrition. We know by now food impacts a lot, and it's not what you eat, but it's what you digest. So don't follow somebody else's diet. Figure out what is really happening in your system and what are you digesting well. And that digestion process is very complex and it keeps changing with whether your emotional health, your age, your hormonal uh, situation, and all of those things.
Although I'm not a certified nutritionist like you, and I haven't studied as much as you, recently, last year, I've learned that every person, whichever nationality you are, it's very important to eat as per your DNA. And so, as we are becoming global citizens, we are mixing fruits and dishes, but the microbiome might be very confused. So,
Absolutely.
you agree that it's best to
Yeah.
respect your DNA and culture and eat mainly the food from your culture.
I mean, I feel like you got to experiment with your body. I mean, your body is your biggest project. And if you are not really taking care of your body, what are you really doing? Right? This is the temple, this is the place you live in. And food is a very important part of um, the way your body behaves. So whether it's your ancestral diet, your diet according to your DNA, your blood group, or high protein diet, high fat diet, whatever you want to follow, but experiment with it. Is it really working for you? And find out your rhythm. And that is very important. There are many ways to do that. I mean, some modalities that I teach in my courses, how to really figure out what is for you and stick to that for some time, and that changes too. And then I definitely don't eat what I was eating in my early 40s now in my early 50s, because my digestion pattern has changed. I might not digest food the
What
way I
is the
was.
digestion pattern?
The way our digestive system is working, it keeps changing with your age, your hormonal changes, whether you're menopaused or perimenopaused, or you're in your, in your teenage or early 20s, 30s, your digestion is constantly changing according to your hormones, according to your emotional health, according to the environment around you, the weather. And it's very important to know where are you at in your life and how you're digesting food. So I could have a burger and digest that burger in no time before in my early 40s. But now I know that I'm not digesting it as well and as fast as I did it in my 40s. So what is that I'm digesting better right now? What is it that how am I nourishing my body? So for me, it's never about the balance of, cheat meal or have clean eating. I don't understand that. For me, it's a lifestyle. How am I nourishing my body today? I know if I nourish my body today, I'm going to be more attentive. I'm going to be 100% present like I'm right now. I'm going to be energized. I'm going to be excited about life. I'm going to be excited about everything. I'm going to have my mood up there. But if I'm not nourished my body well, all of these things are not at its optimum, and I'm not functioning at my optimum. And functioning doesn't mean just productive. Even if you're not doing anything, just being, enjoying your space, enjoying what you're doing, your present moment is very important. And that comes from nourishment, and that comes from the food that you're putting inside of your body. um, Secondly, the second pillar, which is again very important, is hydration. We don't really focus on, of course, we drink enough water and that's what we think. We don't focus on the quality of water we're drinking. We're drinking lots of water from a plastic bottle with plastic, microplastics. And we don't even know where our water is coming from. What does it have? Have you ever gotten your water tested? And then hydration is not just drinking water, but also having hydrating foods. And this is a very important aspect. 90% of your body is made out of water. If you're dehydrated, you're not thinking straight. You have mood swings. You're not digesting well. You are low on energy.
Headaches, low on energy.
You have so many effects. So a glass of water can actually really heal you in many different ways. So that's the second pillar. The third pillar is movement. Sitting is the new smoking. We all know that. We're sitting a lot more than we should be. And so move your body, and that does not mean, and I repeat this time and again, does not mean movement means you're not supposed to just go to the gym and look a certain way wearing some really cool clothes. You're not supposed to be doing all those yoga poses that you see somebody else doing. And a lot of people actually get demotivated because they're not there yet, right? So movement is about moving your body with something that you truly enjoy. It could be dance, it could be walking, it could be just stretching your body lightly.
Dancing,
exactly,
shaking it off.
Yeah,
10 minutes, I do that.
So whatever suits you. I love strength training, and I make sure I do that 4 times in a week. But I also love Pilates and yoga and incorporate all of that.
Me too.
I walk almost every single day because I love walking. So these are the things that are very, very important when it comes to movement. The fourth pillar is, of course, very important again, is guess.
Food, sleep.
I know. That's my first question to anybody. Did you sleep well? I mean, if you don't sleep, you're not regenerating, healing, or rejuvenating.
Yeah.
I mean, everything is happening while you're sleeping.
10 p.m. to 2 a.m.
Exactly. And I feel we've become a society of insomniac people, I mean, people are not really sleeping well. And sleep is a very, very, very important. I mean, we all know that when we have had a good night's sleep, how our next day goes, and
vice versa,
right? The fifth pillar is how you process your emotions, right? It's very important.
This is like a podcast on its own. This
pillar. Is exactly
because we eat it. I learned that from you. We eat our emotions. We hide them. Yeah. We even gossip. We do many things not to feel uncomfortable.
Yeah. And all our issues get stuck in our tissues, right? And so it's there. You might not remember it if you've not processed your emotions. It's somewhere there. And it has to come out. When it does not come out, it's not processed. It manifests in many different ways that we know now. Studies have shown in many physical ailments. So it's very important to process that. And I think journaling is one of the easiest way you can. And the sixth is where, all my friends come into the picture, is a sense of community. I think we are social beings, and it's very important to have that sense of community for us to feel youthful, to have that support system, to feel safe and secure. It's as humans, we all want to be heard and seen, and we have that community around us who's giving us that makes you feel sense of safety and makes you feel complete.
I want to go back to pillar number 5, to processing emotions. So everybody knows, but I don't know how deep they went into doing more often breath work as a modality to release.
Yes. All of these, in fact, all the holistic beauty modalities are the modalities to process your emotion. That's why I love it so much. When you do face massage, a lot of the times you will I see in my clients crying or expressing.
You remember when you first?
Yeah.
So when you just graduated and you've offered me one of your first massages, first of all,
Okay, picture this incredibly beautiful white room on the palm, incredible scents, beautiful music, your divine magical hands on my face and chest, doing your thing. And I'm like, oh, I'm so excited. And we finished that. And I didn't want to finish because it was just so good. And you told me, like, just you might, in case you cry, you release tomorrow, don't be surprised. I'm crying from, I'm fine. And exactly in the evening, the day after, 8, 9 p.m.,
Yeah.
you're like, I told you. But I didn't believe you because it wasn't making sense. So what
Yeah.
happens? What do you trigger? What happens? How come you touch the muscles in the face and in time, in days, the emotion catches up to you and you're releasing it through
So,
crying?
so basically, we actually store a lot of our emotions on a cellular level, especially the fascia layer. And we just store them, and in our conscious mind, we don't remember it, but it's there in our subconscious mind. And when you're working with people, especially on the upper body, and especially with women, we store actually a lot of our emotion on the upper body. That's why most of us have tight shoulders and, really the pain on the shoulder. We feel like we're always carrying something big. It's like carrying a baggage. All of these emotions, and also when you are going through life, all these emotions get stored on a cellular level and starts to age you. Because what is aging really? Aging is all about stagnation, and when we store all of these things, we our functions of the bodily function stagnates, and so you're having less blood circulation, less oxygen in your cells, and less nutrients reaching the skin. You start to age. How many times have you met a friend who has just gone through a heartbreak or gone through a financial stress?
She looked more, her skin is dimmer,
Yeah, and
pale.
and all suddenly she's aged. And how many times you've met your friend who's just fallen in love and she's suddenly glowing and looking
Beaming like these
youthful.
lights. Yeah, yeah,
Exactly.
yeah,
So
yeah, yeah.
all these emotions impact the way we look. And so when you're working deeply with facial muscles, the fascia and all of those things, it we release those emotions. And so whatever is our go-to emotion, it manifests. So if we want to cry, we cry. We might just get angry, we might just get frustrated, however that emotion wants to come out. And that's why all of these modalities will trigger something in you on a regular basis, and that gives you a release. And that release is a great thing to happen because that's what is slowing down your age.
Oh my gosh, that's so good. And not that I haven't heard you say it before, but it just feels so good to be reminded, and the way you articulate it is incredible. I want to encourage more women not to hold on to shame, not to hold on to, but what if I disturb? And be courageous to share it, because otherwise they hold on to and then they adding up, having remorse, having regret that stays in their cells, that becomes then age.
Yes, that's all of these emotions that we're not
Repressing,
processing.
repressing.
Exactly, that's impacting the way we are aging, the way we are aging. And everything shows up on your skin, on your face, and especially in your eyes.
Okay, tell me more about the eyes.
A lot of the times when I do the therapy or massage therapy or yoga or, all of those things on women, it's when they get up from my table, I don't look at the lift instantly. I look into their eyes. And the fact their eyes soften after a treatment like this says everything about the treatment.
Soften as in the look or the
The
muscle?
look, the look,
Everything.
yeah. Because a lot of the times we don't realize with life experiences, we really harden
We
ourselves,
do.
and that shows in our eyes. But when we accept ourselves where we are at, we soften with ourselves. We come back home with ourselves. And that's where the healing journey starts, because we have accepted where we are at and we're not running away from ourselves. I mean, how would you really expect your face to age, your body to age when you yourself are running away from yourself? Come back to yourself and then take responsibility of everything that's going on inside and outside of you.
Would you say that that's also the definition of how one can unmute themselves, what you just said now?
Yeah, I feel in the way our society is built and the way we've been raised, we have been constantly told to run away from the things we don't like in ourselves, the shadow side. But we come with everything. We come with light and
Full
shadow.
options,
Full
full options like a car.
How can you expect somebody else to honor you, somebody else to accept you fully and completely if you don't do it yourself? And everything shifts the moment you accept yourself. This is who I am. This is good and this is bad, but this is what makes me who I am. And not try to fix it, which I always tell you, the conversation I always have. It's not about fixing ourselves. It's about evolving ourselves. The process of evolution is very important from a space of wanting to know myself more than wanting to fix myself.
We are getting closer to almost the end of the episode, and there are still many. You have to come back. So, quickly, in just a few minutes, tell me your perspective on the fact that we are. You said that we are, to a certain extent, manipulated into wanting to fix ourselves versus then wanting to celebrate here and now. Who is doing it, why, and how can we catch ourselves if we are victims of a system that wants to invite us to another retreat, to another breathwork, to another plant medicine, to another course to find your true self and redefine and
It's always something that I end my classes with, actually. So it's interesting that you're asking me towards the end. We are always trying to fix ourselves. We're always wanting to do more. We're always, going for something else that's not there with us right now. So I would really like to end this whole session with an exercise for everyone to do. Sit down right now and write 20 things that you have achieved in your life so far, wherever you are at, in your 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s, 70s. Write down 20 things that you've really achieved and you're proud of. That could be personally, professionally, health-wise, playing all different roles, whatever. Celebrate those 20 things for next 20 days.
for the next 20 days.
20 days. Don't want anything more. Don't try to fix yourself. Don't try to go for another class. Don't try to do anything else. Just celebrate yourself for next 20 days, for 20 things that you have achieved in your life so far, and see the shift.
And let's talk after 20 days. So basically, flipping the script, putting the attention on the pluses in your life, because the industry or all these amazing professionals keep advertising. I have this discount, I have this course, you don't want to miss it, you can't miss it. So and so came to this, right? So you're flipping the script. You're saying, but what is a lot in my life?
Exactly. What have we've all done a lot so far.
I don't want to let you go before we go a little bit onto the face. So face yoga and strengthening the muscles. For people who say, I don't have time or it's difficult, how do you simplify that for someone who thinks, I don't know where to start? I mean, of course, they go on Uma show and they find hundreds of episodes that you have been uploading for the last 10 years generously.
Yeah.
But apart from that, so when we do face yoga, what happens? We are stimulating and strengthening the muscle, right? And we are connecting with it also.
Yeah. So I feel, firstly, there are so many different videos by so many different people on social media. I feel if you seriously want to go ahead with holistic beauty modalities, learn from the professionals, because it's very important for you to understand the science behind all of these things. Only when you know the science behind face yoga, face massage, facial cupping, and all of those things, you will understand what really is happening on the deeper layers of the skin, the muscles, the fascia, the bone structure, and all of those things. And it's never about 20 minutes or 10 minutes or 15 minutes. It's about what you can fit into your lifestyle.
Okay.
Because, most important thing is consistency. If you're not consistent, you're not going to see results. So even if it's 3 minutes that you have today, start doing something for 3 minutes for next 3 weeks and see the change. What I always say, it's not the motivation that leads to action. It's the action that leads to motivation.
Because of the
When you take
results.
small actions, you see the results and you get motivated to take that action more often. So take a small step forward. Small things have huge impact.
For those who've never met you or they don't know about your brand, how many years of studies and certifications you had to acquire in order to be able to teach and certify beauticians around the world?
Well, I've done doing face yoga for a long time, from my early 30s, but I went ahead and got all these certifications in last 15 years.
Okay.
Yeah, and I'm still getting. I mean, I love learning from different masters and teachers. And
What would you say, how many people you think you've certified? More than 500, more than 700?
so I have two businesses, B2C, which is for everyone. There I must have done, thousands of women, at least 5,000 women plus. And in professional, which is B2B, we must have certified 1,500.
Oh, I didn't realize that.
Yeah, we started the company only 4 years back.
Yes.
And yeah, we must have reached that number by now.
Wow. All right. What you have not unmuted yet in your life? Where do you feel you haven't unmuted yourself?
It's very, very difficult to mute me at this point in my life.
I saw that coming. That's my friend. Ladies and gentlemen, that's my friend.
Yeah. Yeah, so I don't think there is any aspect of my life that's been unmuted. That's been muted, because I am very much a woman who lives life by my own terms, and that doesn't mean disturbing the ecosystem and going ahead and doing something completely different. But living my life in my own terms on a daily basis means choosing myself, my well-being, my mental health, my emotional health, because when I have practices to take care of my mental well-being and overall well-being, I know I can give 100% to people around me.
Gorgeous. How would you motivate women to start working towards unmuting themselves? And I have one last question, but what is your word of encouragement or practice to invite more women, because you are catering more to women, but also gentlemen, to live, to take space, to master that courage? What is your word of advice or practice?
For me, this word that really resonates with me very deeply, and it's kind of, it is the word that gives me direction in life, is authenticity. And I feel before you want to even unmute yourself, figure out, are you being authentic to yourself? Who you are internally is matching your external world. If there is a huge disalignment, you need to start all the different things that there are that's available to you to unmute yourself right away. But if there is more alignment, it's a step that you can take slowly. But the fact that first, the fact that you need to unmute yourself comes from the fact that you realize you need to unmute yourself. Because a lot of human beings in general are muted without even knowing they are muted.
They're not a pilot.
you know?
They are.
So figure out, are you really muted? Do you have things to unmute? And that comes from this word, authenticity. Are you being authentic to your own self? And then start the journey.
Wow, I loved your answer. What's your definition of beauty? I would like us to end with, because you told us to find
Yeah.
our own, but today, what is the most recent definition of beauty that you have?
You know, for me, beauty for me is really having the balance between your emotional body, your spiritual self, and your physical self. And being emotionally balanced does not mean being calm. That for me, being calm is always pleasing people. Being emotionally balanced means having your very strong boundaries, and then having spiritual alignment with authenticity that I spoke about. That is very important to me. I always am checking myself. Am I being authentic to myself in internal world, and does that match my external world? And then the third is nourishing myself in every which way, whether it comes from food, the conversations, the people around me, and everything that I'm choosing on a daily basis, how it's serving me and my higher self. And all of this balance is beauty for me. If something is not balanced, I'm not really feeling beautiful, because beauty is a feeling, it's not looking.
Uma, thank you so much for gracing us with your wisdom, with your presence, with your authenticity, and definitely with your beauty. Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. I love you. You're amazing. You're amazing.
You too.